You might have seen this dramatic hand in the big game.
Bring your tricycle!
It's ridiculous!
High five for the assist there, just in case.
But what most people never knew was what happened after the cameras stopped rolling. Because once the show was over, the real feud had just begun, dragging on for days, spilling onto social media, igniting a controversy that went far beyond the table. What transpired between these three men was not merely a rivalry of skill. It was described by observers as bullying and by the perpetrators as entertainment. We've split this video into two parts. Part 1 focuses on what happened on the show, and Part 2 reveals what happened after the show, something very few people are aware of. The confrontation began almost immediately after Andrew Robl took his seat, as Tony G launched into his trademark speech play in an attempt to intimidate him.
You the Mr. Robl, right?
I'm happy to be at this table. Chips are fine.
One thing you do have to do, you have to straddle every hand. We're not having no internet kids coming here and being tight ass. You're gonna play every hand here. You don't come here and play tight, okay?
According to Elizabeth Houston, the amateur loose cannon who witnessed the events firsthand, Robl sat down at the table and announced his intention to bluff Tony G and make him fold like a girl.
You're gonna play aggressive, and you're gonna play loose, and you're gonna be in there all the time mixing it up with me.
I'm gonna bluff you for all of my chips. You are gonna fold like a little girl.
This provocative statement set the tone for what was about to follow. Robl's tendency to fold almost every hand also added fuel to the situation.
Robl looks at ace-9, folds.
And you folded every hand, and you're tilting me up so much. I'm the donkey, I gotta sit here and play every hand?
I have a maniac on my left.
Robl, queen-5.
I would limp, but I'm very afraid you're gonna raise.
Uh-oh. Robl folds. Robl, 9-deuce. Out of here. Robl folds. Robl, suited 1 gapper folds.
Before long, Daniel Negreanu added his voice to the discussion, commenting on Robl's tight approach.
No. You just have to give some action. Once in a blue moon, you have to actually give some action.
Action continues as Robl folds. Robl, ace-6. Nope. Robl, very quiet. King-4. See ya. So Andrew Robl under the gun. Folds. Robl, king-deuce. Out of here.
After a few hands, Daniel began needling Robl over the fact that everyone else at the table was straddling except him.
$800 to straddle.
I'm trying to win money in the poker game.
So you're okay with being the only one who doesn't straddle in a game?
Yeah, you remember that?
I mean, do you sleep okay at night at that? Like taking that little extra edge?
I do.
You really? You're okay with it? Because I wouldn't feel. I'd feel kind of greasy about it.
I sleep in a giant big bed of money.
No, really, I would feel a little weird about it. Being the only guy that doesn't straddle?
Robl pushed back, offering a reasonable explanation for his decision not to straddle.
I don't think the stacks are really deep enough to have a game that with straddles. It kind of
But
takes
you
away.
like the idea that you can just knit up and take an edge over everybody else who does straddle, because that's always nice.
Well, no, it's your guys' choice to straddle.
Of course,
I mean,
but it's always nice when everyone else gives action and stuff like that.
The first major flashpoint of the rivalry was the bike hand. The atmosphere was already tense, with Tony G making constant comments about Robl's slow play. Robl looks down at Queen 6 suited. He raises to 3,200. Tony G defends his straddle by calling with 5-3 offsuit. On the turn, Tony G puts Robl to the ultimate test with a massive overbet of $50,000.
I'm gonna bet 50.
Tony bets 50,000.
See if you're a real man.
50,000.
Tony's playing mind games to make it look like he's trying to buy it, and he's even making it personal. Yesterday he told Daniel he was going to put the pressure on Robl, and he's doing it now.
As Robl thought, Tony G began his performance, and this is where the poker ended and the bullying began.
I want to call the clock. Come on internet you play like in 1 second. And when you come here now, you come to my game and you're wasting my time.
Bring your tricycle.
It's ridiculous. These kids are coming here, taking me on.
Tony, calm down, please.
Tony, I need to know, did you bring a bike for me?
Tony G called the clock almost immediately, violating the standard etiquette that allows a player reasonable time to think in a large pot.
That is floorman Tom Keene putting Andrew Robl on the clock.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fold.
the rivalry reached its climax during a hand between Negreanu and Andrew Robl that would become the subject of intense scrutiny. This hand is perhaps more damaging to Robl's psyche because it involves his idol Negreanu participating in the mockery. The pot escalated through multiple betting rounds, with Negreanu applying pressure throughout. On the river, Daniel tries a bluff that looks like a value bet, putting Andrew on the spot.
Like that again.
Action on Negreanu.
Amsterdam.
That's 18-5.
3-10s is a tough bluff to pull off, so Daniel is most likely trying to rep a big ace or maybe a straight. His bet is designed to bluff Robl off a king maybe.
As Robl deliberated, Tony G suddenly called the clock on him, creating an intense time pressure situation.
I'm going to walk out. If these guys are going to come here, waste my time, I'm going to walk out of the game. It's a joke. F***ing hell, he's thinking 20 minutes every f***ing hand he's playing. F***ing nit.
Here comes floorman Tom Keene, who's received more airtime than Hoyt Corkins, who went broken 8 hands in the big game.
All right, Andrew, we're going to go through the same thing.
You play online, it's like quick. 2 seconds, bang, bang, they're pressing buttons. They come here, they freeze up.
Daniel's done a good job of making this look like a value bet, so Andrew has a legit decision to make. He seems to be doing a good job of tuning Tony out.
Eventually, Robl folded his hand under pressure.
After all that, he finally threw it away. I mean, I had a 6, but
Daniel shows the bluff.
You qualified.
I was so happy you called the clock, Tony. High five for the assist there, just in case.
In a moment that would define the controversy, Daniel Negreanu then revealed his hand, showing that he had been bluffing. This public acknowledgement of collaboration, whether intentional or not, transformed what might have been a routine fold into a lightning rod for criticism. The optics were particularly damaging. 2 established poker pros appearing to work together to humiliate a younger player on national TV.
You got yourself a nit and you can bluff him out.
What is this, Pledge Week?
I know Daniel's excited, but there's no need to rub salt in the wounds.
Finally, I bluffed, and the person didn't call.
Andrew Robl responded by publishing a blog post titled "Big Game Drama" that harshly criticized both Tony G and Daniel Negreanu. In his post, Robl accused the veterans of inappropriate conduct and suggested he had been bullied at the table. He said Tony G was totally out of line, calling the clock on me in the hand versus Daniel. If I remember correctly, he called it in under a minute, and with the amount of money at stake, I consider it totally out of line. Can you imagine what would have happened if the situations were reversed and Tony G called the clock on Daniel after 1 minute? Production and floor would never let that fly. In regards to Daniel, he said, "Daniel was one of my childhood heroes. I read every strategy article he ever wrote and found them humorous and insightful. And when I first met him a few years ago, I was amazed at how down-to-earth and humble he was. He was the real deal. After the last few years since I met Daniel, I can no longer say I see him as humble and down-to-earth." Daniel Negreanu responded to critics by stating the following: "We knew when Robl sat down, he had a terrible reputation for taking way too long on each and every decision, even the most elementary decisions. Tony called the clock on him not based solely on how long he took on that particular hand, but Robl's habitual abuse of the amount of time he takes on every hand. As a side note, for every extra minute Robl sits and stares at the flop, that costs production a significant amount of money. It's also important to note that a TV game is not a regular game. The players on the big game are paid $1,250 an hour to appear on the show. Since players are being paid as entertainers, they are expected to either give a little action or at least be somewhat talkative at the table. Robl did absolutely nothing to add to the show. In fact, he burned up production dollars, not to the extent of a Phil Hellmuth, but with Hellmuth, at least you have the entertainment factor. Robl's decision not to straddle is just plain wrong when everyone else in the game was willing to create some more action by making a negative EV move in the best interest of creating action. If only one of the two guys are straddling, then I would not have said a word. But when even Alan Barry straddled regularly, and Robl wouldn't give back even $800 to the cause in the name of action, he broke the cardinal rule. Andrew Robl responded with the following. On the first season of the big game, I was a backup alternate. This consisted of me being basically on call to play on any day they needed me. I was promised I would get a slot, not as an alternate, on the next season of the show. 2 days before the show started, I received a call from production saying that unfortunately, they were not able to get me the starting slot they promised, but they would like it if I was available to be on call, to be an alternate all week. This was not what I wanted, and I felt a bit of disappointment. But I still wanted to play on the show and was happy to help out in any way I could. They offered me $160 in tournament tokens a day to sit on set and wait to play in case 2+ people busted. I told them that I would lose a significant amount of money in opportunity cost if I missed playing online for a week to sit up on set, but I would still like to help and play on the show. So they come to me a room at South Point where the game is filmed, and I happily waited around for a week to fill any vacant slot, which I got to do on this episode. I rearranged my schedule at the last minute so they won't run out of players, and was happy to do so. But now suggesting I wasted production time and money? Come on. As for not straddling, whenever Daniel gets stuck, he goads everyone in-game into straddling. I personally feel Daniel is a tilter and plays much worse when stuck. I dispute his claims that straddling is good for the game. It does create bigger pots, after all the stakes are doubled, but it also halves effective stacks, making the game less strategically deep. More than that, it also makes certain players play tighter as the stakes are significantly higher and the money means more to them. I think all of these things are not only bad for me, but bad for the game. As far as not splashing around like it's play money, like him and Tony do, I don't apologize for that. During hands, I think deeply and analytically about my opponent's hand ranges, their bet sizes, how they'd react to various bet sizes, psychology, etc. I know that many of the players on this show don't do this, but I'm playing with my own money, and if I don't win at poker, I can't pay my bills. I feel that it's my right when playing sky-high stakes to have ample time to try and make the correct decision. Tony G countered with his own blog post sarcastically titled, "I am the third most hated man in poker." Rather than offering a genuine apology, Tony G spent most of the post defending his actions while claiming he had crossed the line when calling the clock on him. Though I apologize to Robl, I still think I had a point about his nittish waiting at the bus stop behavior. It drove me to distraction. It made me mad. He argued that Robl would eventually thank him in later years for this treatment. Elizabeth Houston, who was at the table as the amateur player, offered a vigorous defense of Tony G in her blog post. She portrayed Tony as a supportive and protective presence who helped her feel comfortable in an intimidating situation. Houston argued that Robl bit off more than he could chew when he decided to take on the lion that is Tony G. Houston's perspective emphasized that Robl had initiated the confrontation with his braggadocious declaration, making him fair game for Tony G's antics. Houston also noted that viewers only saw an edited version of events and that Tony G's trash talk was exactly what he was supposed to do for television entertainment. Tony G defended himself by arguing that his larger-than-life persona was precisely why he remained the most sought-after poker player for TV shows all over the world. His behavior generated ratings and excitement, making poker compelling television for millions of viewers. Eventually, Daniel Negreanu and Andrew Robl reconciled through a phone call, attempting to end their feud. So as I mentioned, I got off the phone with Andrew and let him know we are cool and we squashed it. He explained to me why he did not straddle, and I explained to him how it came off, etc., and we both agreed that we made valid points. So as far as I'm concerned, the issue is over, and I think this all ended up working out better for him anyway. It certainly created a lot of drama and discussion, which always makes good for storyline for the next time he appears on the show with me or Tony G. These rivalries also highlighted an important transition period in poker. The game was evolving from a personality-driven Wild West atmosphere to a more analytical, professional sport. Players like Andrew Robl represented this era, while Tony G and to some extent Daniel Negreanu represented the old guard. The conflicts were not just personal, they were generational and philosophical.